has been a murder on this Trans-Siberian train, writer George Sand said to the first-year fiction writer Vera Miranda. Vera put down her newspaper, removed her monocle, and studied Sand. A waiter in tails delivered Vera a dirty martini, which she drained and set on a gold tray. "We have 2 weeks to solve it before we arrive in Vladivostok," Sand said, again, perplexed at Vera's nonchalance. "I don't need 2 weeks. I already know who did it," Vera said. "Boys, take her away." Men in uniform burst from the dining car and handcuffed George Sand. "Vera Miranda, you will never get away with this," George Sand struggled against her restraints to no avail. "Next time, don't leave clues in the conductor's cabin," Vera said, laughing loudly. The men took Sand away, and Vera picked up a Rubik's Cube, solved it within 5 seconds, smoked a cigarette, and looked out the window at the Siberian landscape whirring past. Vera Miranda.
Oh, that is so much fun, more than my piece. And I've never been on Trans-Siberian train. Let me test this mic. So I was going to read something I've recently written, but then I got scared. So I'm going with something I'm more familiar, so I won't stumble over my bad accent. This is at the beginning of the novel. I hope to finish here at UNLV. And it goes. 1 minute couldn't have lasted so long, especially in this rigid mugshot position, which probably looked cramped, if not pathetic, with giant digits on sheet of paper next to chest, blinding light, stuffy air, and swollen feet in tight shoes were also proof that it had passed over 5 minutes. Pray for those who are prone to claustrophobia or random episodes of panic attacks. Look down for me. Do you see the white tape on the floor? That's your mark. The voice sounded so muffled that the one to whom it was addressed wondered if its owner suffered as much as she did. Its rapid utterance without pause, nor the slightest tone of interest, signified a fatigue and desire to go home. So she obediently lowered her eyes and nodded. She knew the rules. She didn't need to explain to the voice that she already felt the tape under her feet, stuck to the bottom of her shoes, and that she couldn't see anything on the floor anyway. She only wanted this ordeal to be over. Look up. Can you see my hand? That's where you go onto slate. Watch for my sign. She also knew the drill, the hand. Impossible to be seen as anything else outside of the spotlight, supposed to be behind the camera, a few inches above its frame. The only known way to avoid a crossed eye effects while catching eye expressions. The sign of a pointed finger at her would be on a count 4, and the slate, "Okay, ready?" She mumbled yes. And after 4 long counts and a deep inhale, she slated, "Hi, my name is Linda Messing." Hours of practice in front of the mirror exhibited a genuine enthusiasm and the diction of a speech therapist. The dropped sheet of paper quietly landed on the floor, revealing numbers 417. She turned right to show her left profile, then left, paused again, and then in a slow motion she turned around, trying to keep her feet on the marked spot. Like a bat at night, she caught in an awkward silence a cracking sound of the ungluing tape under her shoes, a distant slight crunchy chewing, and a barely perceptible flicker of the camera's dilating pupil. As she faced again to its giant eye, she stretched the corners of her mouth to its full capacity into a smile of the girl from next door. "Okay, have you brought your bathing suit?" The voice unexpectedly brightened up as if it appeared next to her ear. "You can change in the ladies' room down the hall." Linda thought about it prior to entering the auditioning room, and the idea of walking half naked in a hallway, crowded with dressed for cold weather people, didn't sound exciting to her, so she readily delivered her answer. I actually have it on me. She paused, expecting for some sign of approval, and to make clear of her intentions to stay inside, added, "It is under my clothes." The projection lights were so violent she could feel the electric hissing in her hair, as if it were a high voltage power line. She ran her fingers through it in a sudden impulse, nearly confident that it was possibly starting on fire, since all she could see on the other side of the camera from her vantage point was a cloud in the air of either smoke or dust. A remote whisper and stifled giggling seemed to arise from it, and finally a mumbling of the familiar voice. "Yeah, go ahead." Not really sure if she should have performed a rather awkward striptease in a spotlight where she stood, or out of it where it was dark, Linda bent down, pretending to search for her belongings. Still blinded, she fumbled around, nearly dragging the light's cable, mistaking it for the handle of her bag. When she caught the snorting sound of her own breath, as if she was trying to move a heavy piece of furniture, her cheeks started pulsing with neurotic heat. She clenched her teeth and finally reached her bag. Angry at herself, she was filling up with even firmer determination to do the rest of it, as if it was the most habitual, natural act for any woman. She was imagining the task of taking off her skinny jeans and fitted top in effortless, casual manner, if only she had planned a little better. From her thorough calculations, all she had to do was to start with the top and end with the jeans. So in one quick gesture, she pulled her top over her head. It was a bit narrow in the neckline, which, passing through Linda's head, had created an effect of a lighting match, shooting minuscule sparkles from the roots to the end of her hair, left suspended in the air in a static freeze. When she finally returned to the marked spot, her entire body felt equally weightless and exposed, dangling from ends of her hair like a naked doll in hands of a mean bankster. She didn't care anymore about her broken fingernail while she was unzipping her jeans, neither the scratch it left on her thigh while she was pulling them down. She was so eager to be done with this unfortunate performance that when she heard the same voice exclaiming with a happy relief of a half-full mouth, "Thank you," she welcomed it as a shout of a shipwreck rescuer. She hurriedly grabbed her clothes as if escaping from her broken-in-pieces ship and echoed, "Thank you." She was looking forward to going home no less than a half-full mouth, and she was happy to shut the door behind her with a sigh of relief and preposterous feeling of hope that the next time will be better.